friends, my name is Holly and welcome back to my channel. So we have a baby update for y'all. I posted on YouTube a post on the community tab, I think it was Friday morning maybe, of some things that happened, started happening Thursday night, and we were in the hospital all weekend and we are so thankful to be home. There's a lot to catch up on, so I'm going to try to make this video like as short as possible and not so long and drawn out, just kind of giving y'all the basic details. And because I'm getting out of breath really easy right now, but I think it's because I'm so tired, because y'all know that I'm used to like being up and moving around, and this past weekend was a little crazy and I was in the bed for like all weekend, so I think that made me feel even more lazier, and I feel like I gained 30 pounds while I was in the hospital because they had some really good food. So we're gonna be real positive about this video. One of the scariest things that's ever happened to me in my life happened this weekend, and I know people have it so much worse, but from my personal experience, anything that's happened to me, it scared Drew and I pretty good. But God is so good, and we're back home and we're just resting, and so we're gonna just jump right into it. A lot of y'all were asking me questions. I told y'all to go follow me on Instagram when I made that YouTube post, sharing just some like behind the scenes and details through the day. But I know a lot of y'all don't have Instagram, and a lot of y'all were asking questions and updates and what happened, and so I wanted to share it with y'all. Honestly, just because y'all are like so close with me, and I wanted to share this experience. And then also, y'all know that I love making these videos for like a little scrapbook memory for Drew and I, where we can look back like months ago or years ago and kind of see where we were in life. And so I really just wanted to throw this video together to kind of update y'all, like I said, because a lot of y'all are asking questions and I have horrible heartburn right now. Just to kind of help remember some details of this weekend, because it's part of our birth story. Hopefully my experience, if you're pregnant, will kind of help you out, because honestly I feel like there is so many different birth stories. You never know. Like my mom didn't know whenever she was going into labor with me, or my sister, I can't remember which one, but anyway, it's just there's so many different things, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about whenever I start telling you the story that could go on, you'll be in labor or having contractions and not even realize it, or think that it's something else. So we'll get on into that. So hopefully my story will help you. So we'll flash back to Thursday. So this was Thursday. I don't even know the date. I had to look back. Okay, so Thursday, July 13th. And also we're due September 1st. So July 13th, I was planning on getting up and getting ready and then filming a start of the like nursery tour video. Like I was going to show y'all some of his big furniture pieces and some things Drew had put together. Well, Mom had just randomly called me that Thursday and she was like, hey, what are you doing? And I had just woke up. She said, well, I'm gonna come over there and help you clean. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. She said, no, I'm going, my sister's having a baby too, by the way. She said, I'm going to help your sister later this morning, and so I'm going to come to your house first and help you. We were supposed to have company come in, some of our good friends from Georgia come in and stay the weekend with us. And I had just taken down all of my like summer decor and just kind of had like if you watch my last video, you'll see, and just had like a clean neutral slate. And so I was starting to kind of nest, and it was like good timing because they were coming in. So just getting the house cleaned up and things like that. So my mom said she was going to come help me. So I was like, okay, great, come on. So she came over here and she did so much stuff. I pretty much pointed her around. I did a few things too, but she helped me get a lot of things in order, cleaning the bathrooms and dusting and lots of things in the house just to make it feel clean and refreshed. And so I was so thankful for that. Well, she left and went to my sister's house to help her. And I had a few more things on my list that I wanted to do, and it wasn't even much. It was like, gosh, I don't even remember. I think I just like had a few more clothes to put up, and like I really didn't do much because Mom did a whole lot for me. But I just remembered I was getting so tired feeling. But y'all know during my pregnancy, I've told y'all on here before that I've been having trouble with like my hips. And just like I get really tired from walking, and I had started going to the chiropractor about that. I went to the chiropractor my second trimester for that. I think it's called sciatic pain. Is that right? Anyway, so I went and that helped a lot, but I still would have trouble whenever I would move around a lot with my hips. But everything else just felt wonderful, so I would push myself because I like to do things and get things done. So anyway, I was had a few more things on my list. So I was like, I'm just gonna push myself to do it. And then whenever I finish, I'm gonna get in the bathtub and eat some lunch. And, or it really wasn't lunch because it was probably around 2-ish. So I was like, I'm gonna get in the bathtub and eat like a lunch snack and just rest the rest of the evening. So whenever I finished, I just remember I was so tired and my back right here, left back side was really hurting. And so I got in the bathtub and I was relaxing and I texted Drew and I said, I'm not really sure. I said, but I think I'm having like Braxton Hicks contractions or something. I said, I'm just uncomfortable and I'm just ready for you to be home. Well, he got off work like 30 minutes later. So he came right on home, and on his way home, I just remember thinking, I am hurting pretty bad. But I'm one of those that I don't like to be a wimp either. And so I will try to push through or just think this is, you know, I'm fine. Just relax, rest, and take a warm Epsom salt bath. It wasn't a hot one. So I was just like, I just need to rest and then I'll be fine. Because usually that's what happens with me. I'll get tired and I'll put my feet up and rest for a little while and then I'll be completely back to normal. So I thought that's what I was going to do. As I was waiting on Drew to get home, it was a good 30 minutes or so. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what if I do go into labor early? I really wanted to get all of our bags packed because I'm one of those that I like to be in control, which if you're pregnant, you might as well just throw that out the window. But I like to be in control of situations as much as I can. And so I had been watching YouTube videos, you and I both have, and watching like kind of what to take to the hospital. This is our first baby, so we're just kind of like clueless. So it's been fun watching those videos. And I had a list on my phone of all the things that we needed, and I had it all categorized out, what for what bag and stuff like that. Stuff for me, stuff for Drew, stuff for baby. I was in the bathtub, I started looking at that list and I texted Drew. I said, hey, I said, as soon as you get home, I said, we're gonna start packing these bags. Because I was hurting really good at this point, and I was honestly thinking it was a kidney stone. I've never had a kidney stone before, but my cousin Kayla had one. I can't remember how many weeks that she was, but I think she said it was her first one too, and while she was pregnant, and I've heard that those are very common to get while you're pregnant. So I thought I was getting a kidney stone, which I wasn't excited about that because I know that those hurt. I've heard that they're awful. I just told him, I said, whenever you get home, I said, I'm getting out of the bathtub, I'm gonna go sit in the chair in his room. We're gonna pull all of his stuff that needs to be packed, and then we're gonna pull all of our stuff, and then we're gonna put everything into 2 separate piles because things needed to be washed up. We're gonna do a light load, a dark load, and have them in 2 separate piles and get that ready, and then get everything else packed in the bags that's on the list. I had somebody ask on Instagram because they saw that our bags were packed whenever we were at the hospital. They were like, did you already have your bags packed or did you throw it all together? And y'all, we threw it all together so fast because I was bound and determined I was not going to the hospital until, and like I said, I really just thought it was a kidney stone. But I think maybe in the back of my mind, I knew that I was probably gonna have to stay overnight. I was just like, I want all this stuff packed and off my mind. And I had the list, so I knew we could do it fast. So as soon as Drew got home, we were almost done and I was hurting so bad. So I laid on the bed and he was massaging my back while I was trying to think of a few more things for us to pack. And then I was like, I'm just gonna get in the bathtub real quick and just see if it'll calm down. And Drew needed to take a shower after work too. So he got in the shower and I got back in the bathtub. And while I was laying in the bathtub, I was just laying there and I was hurting so bad. I think though my adrenaline was up and my I wasn't in my right mind, but I was laying in there. I could almost just feel like, not really I was gonna pass out, but just kind of like it was the weirdest like feeling, like just a blank stare, like what is going on? So Drew got out. I said, let's call the doctor. We called and I told him what was going on and they were like, yeah, you need to come on in and get yourself checked in and let us check you out and see what it is. So I got out and there was still a few more things that we needed to get packed. And this was more of like an overnight bag because this was probably around 5:30 in the evening that we decided to go on up there. And so I threw on my clothes, Drew threw on his, and we just kind of packed like a bag. Like I wanted my diffuser in it with my oils because my oils help me a lot whenever I'm not feeling good. And then like some snacks, my vitamins, phone chargers, just like kind of those basic things that you would need if you were going to be sitting in the hospital a while. So we grabbed that up and then we headed out the door. We hadn't told our parents or anything about it at this point because I don't like to worry people, and I was like, let's just kind of see what happens. So on our way there, I told Drew he could call everybody. So he called his family and my family. And so we headed out. Well, we got in a little bit of traffic, and while we were in the traffic, it wasn't bad. I was hurting so bad. I told Drew, I said, what are we going to do if we are in labor? And he was like, we'll just handle that whenever we get there. But in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, it's probably just a kidney stone. So we get there and they check us right in. We go back to a room. They put me on a gown. And then it is just like so much happened so fast. Like it was bam, 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 bam. We did not have to wait. We didn't have to be like put in a waiting room, anything. Like they took me right back. They started checking everything. And then it just was like moments later, the doctors and the nurses ran in and they were like, you're in premature labor. You are having contractions. They had hooked me up to some things. They're like, you're having contractions and we're going to check you to see if you've dilated. Before Drew and I could really even get our thoughts together around that, they were checking me and telling me that I was already dilated at 2. And the doctor that was on call, it's not my regular doctor, but the doctor that was on call was just pretty much giving us the worst news ever, which Drew and I were talking about it because we've like replayed this over and over, and we're like, it's probably good that he didn't sugarcoat it because he was very worried and concerned and like got things happening like as soon as we got in there. But it was just very scary. So he was like, we're going to do everything that we can to slow this down. There's no stopping this. You are in premature labor and there's nothing we can do about it. And we can try to slow it down, but there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to have this baby tonight or tomorrow. And they started handing Drew paperwork, talking to me, talking about getting us to sign off on different medication and shots and all these things that we wanted or didn't want. And it was just like so fast. I was scared to death because we were not prepared for this at all. Like I was, in my mind, I'm like taking things a day at a time. Like I hadn't lined up a pediatrician yet. I still had time. In my mind, I thought that I did. And so I hadn't thought about all these things. And it was just Drew and I there with our first baby. Never had this happen before. Like never experienced this. So it was just a lot. Well, they walk out of the room and Drew and I are just in total shock. And I was like, call our parents right now and tell them to get up here. And so he called them, started me on, gosh, I cannot even remember. It was like such a blur. This whole experience was that night. But I know they started me on something to kind of help relax my muscles and slow down the process. And I believe it was a peel. I can't remember what it's called. They started me on antibiotics. And then they said they were going to give me 2 different steroid shots, one that night and one the next day to help with lung function. And then I think brain cells, just to kind of speed up that process in case we were to have him early. And so they did that. They hooked me up to an IV. I wouldn't be dehydrated. There was so much stuff. Anyway, so they did all that and then they rolled me back into the labor and delivery room. And it was a big, nice room. The nurses and the doctors, the staff there was incredible. I am so glad that we chose this hospital for us. We went in there and my back was still hurting pretty good. And then I was in total shock. Like whenever they first came in and started telling me all this, like uncontrollably shaking. My body would not stop shaking. I was trying to stop because I was like, this cannot be good for the baby for me to be like panicking this much. And so Drew had to come over and lay his hands on my chest and just kind of talk to me and calm me down and tell me to breathe. And like, I didn't want to be in that panic. I just wanted to let go and let God. But I was so panicked and stirred up and in shock that it was just like, the craziest shaking that I've ever experienced. And honestly, this whole Thursday night is a complete blur because I was in total shock. I was in a pretty good bit of pain, and there was so much happening that I'm trying to look back and like give you all the details, but I can't really fully remember them. I remember all the family coming in, just kind of hanging out with us as we kind of waited to see. And then I do remember some point in the night, once they had got there, I started hurting again in my back really bad, and would just kind of, it would like make me tense up. And I remember I did not sleep like at all Thursday night. Drew, my mom and his mom ended up staying in the room with us that night. The rest of them went home because it looked like everything was under control. But I didn't sleep at all because I didn't feel good. I know a lot of people like contracted their stomach and their lower back, but mine was just on this side. But by the time I did get to the hospital, or like when we were in that traffic, I told y'all, I was like, what if I am in labor? It's because all of this was kind of tightening up, but I almost just thought this was tightening up because usually later in the afternoon, my stomach will get so heavy feeling. I thought that's just kind of what it was, and then just kind of the pressure on my back. I really didn't think it was contractions. So then Friday morning, it was finally morning time. I was so miserable that night. Oh, and probably TMI, but through the night, like they had to hook me up to these 2 bands to monitor baby. And I felt like I had like trapped gas. Like if you ever had your gallbladder out, they like pump you up with gas, and like your back and shoulders and stomach and everything will be so tight and hurt so bad. And so with the back pain, the contractions, and then the trapped gas feeling with those bands around me, oh my gosh, I was miserable. And I know that nurse that was worked that night, I felt so bad for her because I was so needy that night. And I was having to get up and down and go to the bathroom, I feel like every 30 minutes, because they were putting that IV in me with fluids to keep me hydrated. So I know people had to help me out a lot that night. And so I am so thankful for the love and support that I had between my sweet husband, my family, my moms, and then the nurse, because they took such good care of me. And even though that night was kind of a blur, I know that I had to be a pain in the butt because it was just a lot. Friday morning finally came, and my personal doctor came in. And so again, this is all kind of a blur, but I know that morning she said she was going to start me on magnesium, and that it would help slow down the contractions and all even more. And because I was having them all through the night, and so we were going to do that. And I think there were some other things that they did, but the nurse came in and she started telling me all the bad things about this magnesium. Like, you're going to have really bad hot flashes. You're probably going to feel like you're going to get really nauseated. A lot of people like kind of hallucinate with this. She might not have told me that, but I think a friend had told me that they had hallucinated. Anyway, I was hearing all this terrible stuff about the magnesium. So I was like, oh gosh, here we go. Well, you know, whatever we had to do to keep baby boy in. So they put me on that, and I'm not kidding you, pretty much as soon as she put me on it, I was like, she was trying to talk to me, and I could feel myself kind of fading out, and I was like, does this stuff make you feel like really tired and exhausted and like dopey? And she was like, yes. I was like, okay, because I'm feeling it. And I'm very sensitive to medicine, so I feel like this stuff hit me hard. I loved the magnesium. Let me know in the comments if you've had this done before, what your experience was with magnesium. The nurse couldn't believe it. The doctor couldn't believe it. They were like, we've never heard of anybody that liked the magnesium. It just made me feel so calm and so relaxed. It made my stomach stop hurting. My nerves felt like they were better. All the emotions that I felt, and this just being in shock, and the back pain, I just feel like it just relaxed everything. It didn't even really make me hot. Now, she did say that it can make you really nauseous, and I have a sensitive stomach, so I was like, y'all know I don't like taking medicine, but you know, at this point, you're like, whenever they're spitting out stuff that they can give you and is safe for baby, they gave me something through my IV that would help me not be nauseous, and I was like, just go ahead and give me that as soon as you give me the magnesium, so we can just nick that in the butt, because I do not want to be nauseous and throwing up with this that I already have. So she did that, and I was just like so good Friday. I ended up, Drew's mom and my mom left Friday morning or Friday afternoon sometime. I don't even really know because I was sleeping. But I felt like we slept so much Friday, and then Friday night got here. They said I was having just like very little mild contractions. They wouldn't even consider it as contractions because they were only lasting like 20 seconds. And so, like I said, we slept pretty much all day Friday, and the food was delicious. They'd bring us a menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we would circle what we would want. So I had like French toast every day, which was delicious. They were definitely keeping us fed, and they were keeping us well and comfortable. They'd bring us ice water. They'd bring me warm blankets. Like, they were just so nice. I think Friday night, Miss Althea came back up to stay with us. My mom would have, but my dad does dialysis, like y'all know, so my mom has to take care of them. And really, I was like, we don't really need anybody here. It's such uncomfortable sleeping situations anyway, and Drew and I were fine. But Miss Althea did bring us a few more things that we needed. So I think that her and the rest of my in-laws came up, and they ate supper in the room with us and just hung out for a little while, just kind of keep us company. And like I said, brought us up a few more things. And then also, because we weren't quite sure if baby boy was gonna make an appearance that weekend or not, we did have family come over and friends of the family, and they were like getting our house together. Like, I don't even know all the behind the scenes of what happened, but I do know that they washed up all those clothes for us and then folded them and had them repacked and brought up to the hospital. And they had his little bag ready to go in case he did make an appearance. All his clothes and everything would be there. And so everybody was just like so much help, and we're just so grateful for that. But thankfully we didn't need all that because he is still doing good right here. Saturday morning, they took me off some magnesium, and they said that they just wanted to monitor me without it to see if I was going to have any contractions or have any problems with being pretty much totally unhooked from everything. They monitored the baby during morning shift, and then once night shift got there, they put it back on me and monitored me. They said that he looked wonderful. And then Sunday morning, they came in and did an ultrasound, and he passed his test. He was like 10 out of 10, perfect as could be. And he was doing good, and I wasn't having any more contractions that they could see. And they checked me, and I was still at a 2. So they said that we were able to come home. So they didn't put me on bed rest. They told me just to do very little to nothing, which Drew told me that he was pretty much putting me on bed rest. And so I'm supposed to make an appointment with my doctor this week and go get things checked out to make sure everything's still going good and all. I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of y'all on Instagram messaged me and on that YouTube post and told me that this happened to y'all around, or somebody that you know around this many weeks being pregnant. I'm 33 weeks pregnant, by the way. Happened to them, and they did the magnesium, came home, took it easy, and they went their full term, or they made it a few more weeks in, and the baby was perfectly fine. And so we were so thankful to hear all that wonderful news. We haven't heard any so far. I don't really want to hear anybody experience from this, just because we're trying to stay positive, and we're just so thankful. And honestly, I'm at such peace with it. Like, I know God has a plan, and his plan is perfect, and so I'm just so at peace with it and content, and I'm so thankful to be home, and I'm so thankful for the love and support, not only from my friends and family that have offered to do so much for us and help me out. Honestly, I know that I need the help, but like last night whenever I was asleep in the bed, I'm sweating so much, and I never sweat. I'm such a cold-natured person. I was telling my mom about it, and she was like, I'll come wash your sheets for you. And I'm just like, gosh, I hate it that I can't do those things for myself, because I hate putting people out. And so I'm just gonna have to get over that, I guess. Anyway, this video is a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be, but I wanted to share it with y'all, share some of our birth story, and to let you guys know that if you are pregnant, honestly, I'm so glad that we did our baby shower as early as we did. We did it earlier than most people do. But like, his room is like almost ready to go. We have like almost everything that we needed for him. Or we do have everything that we need for him. The other stuff is just like things that we don't really need, but we wanted to have for the hospital. I was thinking I was going to be packing my hospital bags too early and making my list too early, but I would definitely recommend being proactive in your pregnancy and not just put things off, because you never know what's going to happen. And I feel like it helps takes a lot of stress off of you if, like, in that mind or in that moment whenever you go into labor early, you're definitely not thinking about all those things, but like the process afterwards, like whenever you get to bring them home and things like that, it just would be nice and more simple if everything was put together, especially if you're like me, like to be in control and everything lined up and organized and feel good about it. So I would definitely recommend being proactive on going ahead and getting your hospital bags packed and getting their clothes washed, and then just listen to your body, because everybody's labor pains are so different. I've heard so many stories and you just never know. Like, I was like, am I in labor, or is this a kidney stone, or did I just kind of overdo it today? So I could wish anything is that it was like by the book on, okay, when this happens, you need to do this. When this happens, you need to do this. But it's just all over the place, and everybody's hurts and aches and pains and stories are just so different. It's so hard to tell like what you need to do whenever you get into that situation. I would recommend, if you have any kind of back pain that is just uncontrollable and you think that you're being a wimp, just go ahead and just go to the doctor just to get checked out, just in case. I'm glad that we went there that evening. And so we're going to be taking it easy. I do have some YouTube videos that I wanted to share with y'all. And before y'all freak out, it's things I'm just going to be sitting on the couch sharing with y'all. And then I do want to share with y'all his room. But I have, like I said, huge support group, and I have friends and family that's offered to come over here and like videotape his room, and then I'll just do a voiceover. So like I can sit on the couch and just do a voiceover, just because I wanted to, if at all possible, I really wanted to get those videos uploaded before he got here, because I told y'all this is like scrapbook memories for me. And so if all works out, that is still going to be the plan. And we obviously will not be doing any fall, and I know that y'all understand. I'm just telling y'all this, and I don't have to, but we will not be doing any fall content until after he gets here, because we're going to be taking it easy. So I don't know when my videos will be posted. They're usually on Wednesday and Sundays, but it's going to be very sporadic for the next probably couple of months. So, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can definitely check me out over there, and I'll be sharing with y'all day to day on kind of what I'm doing to kind of keep myself entertained while laying on the couch, or just doing very little. So we'll see what the doctor says whenever I go back this week. I'll update y'all over on Instagram. If there's any major changes, I'll try to update y'all on YouTube too, but it probably won't be a video. It'll probably just be like a post, so you can kind of just keep a check on the community tab. But I appreciate y'all so much if you've listened to this whole video. I know it was a lot. I thank y'all for the love, prayers, and concerns, and for the ones asking me to do this video. Just knowing that y'all do like hearing the updates and do care so much to sit through a 20-30 minute video of me telling y'all about our crazy weekend and then sharing your love with us. That means so much. If y'all will just keep us in your prayers, that he stays doing good and cooking a little bit longer. And then also, there was a lot of people that I was noticing on my personal Facebook page, lots of friends in our community that are having problems with their babies, or having problems conceiving. I just noticed a lot of that on my Facebook pages this weekend while I was in the hospital, and it just broke my heart. So if you would not only keep me in your prayers, but all the mamas to be's out there, the ones wanting to be mamas, keep all of them in your prayers. God knows them all. We don't know them all by name, but God does. And if you would just keep not only me, but all the mamas to be in your prayers, I would really appreciate that. But I hope that y'all have a wonderful and beautiful rest of your week. And again, thank y'all so much. And above all, thank God so much for taking care of us this weekend and for all the awesome love and support that I had from everybody. I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, friends.
I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.